Right, so this is the scenario. I lived in the UK and I had a sort of a perfect life, I suppose, right? I was doing all my electronics, I was doing my radio controlled stuff, I was doing the e-bikes, I was doing absolutely everything. And I was enjoying life. I enjoyed life to the absolute max, and there was never enough hours in the day for the things that I wanted to do. In 2017, I had an accident, and it's changed my life. I kept getting back pains, which reduced the amount of work that I could do. It reduced absolutely everything. And then my daughter came back in my life, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me when she came back, and I had something to live for. I was still feeling depressed, and I couldn't understand why. And I went to the doctors and I said, I feel depressed, blah, blah, blah. And then I was talking to him about day-to-day activities and the things that I don't enjoy doing anymore that I used to enjoy. And then he said, do you feel suicidal? And I never even thought about it, to be honest. And then I said, well, you know, some days I hope I don't wake up in the morning. I go to bed and I think, I hope I don't wake up tomorrow. The world will be a better place without me, that sort of thing. And he immediately jumped, and it was like, oh my God, he's suicidal. He put me on really strong antidepressants. I don't remember what they were, but they were really strong. And they sort of subdued me, and I had to go back like 2 weeks later. And he said, is there any change? And I said, no, not really. I still feel the same. And I didn't know what it was. I had got no idea. Anyway, he changed the medication. He gave me something else, blah, blah, blah. And I lived basically on antidepressants for years. I mean, you didn't know about it. It must have been since 2018 I was on antidepressants. I didn't want to do the things that I used to enjoy, which was radio control or building e-bikes or this, that and the other. I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't figure out what was causing it, and I just did not know. Now, I watched a video. This bloke, his name's Brian Flowers, and he owns Nightwish. Is it something like that? I don't know, in Pattaya. He owns that company, and he was talking, it was a random one in I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of a chance, but he got loads of videos where he's just sitting there talking about things, and the video quality is crap, and it looks like it's filmed on a potato, and blah, 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 and I clicked on it, and he was talking about his success and how he did it. He said, I suffer with depression, but it's not the normal kind of depression, the sort of taboo subject that you're not allowed to talk about, which is clinical depression. The doctors gave him antidepressants and they made no difference, and blah, 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 and he lived his life on these antidepressants for God knows how long, you know? And I thought, oh my God, it's the same thing with me. He said when he gets depressed about something, when he sits there and it gets worse, he said, I live with it all my life. And he said, I had me to live with it. He said, but when it got even worse, he said, I sat down and I thought about what was causing the depression. And he said, and I changed something, or I got rid of something, I stopped doing something, I changed that time I used to have doing that project. I used to change it and do something else. And he said, and that's how I got my success. Now, if you've seen Brian Flowers, you'd think, nah, there's no way he's got the amount of money he's got. I sat down just as an exercise and I thought about my life. Now, I looked at my situation in the UK and I could see that something bad is going to happen with me personally. If I remain in this situation, then something bad is going to happen to me. And then I looked at the UK and I had this thought of something really, really bad is going to happen with the UK. Now, this is before Labour got in, well before that. I didn't feel like I belonged in that situation anymore. It was all to do about situation. Everything revolved around situation. I thought about my friends, which I'd only got 2 friends at the time. I thought about my family life. I thought about absolutely everything. And this is when my daughter left. She left home, and I think her leaving home. Well, no, her leaving home was the kick up the arse that I needed. I was living on sick because of the pains I used to get in my leg, and somebody said to me, go to Thailand, and that's when I started deeply researching living over here about the proper Thai medical massages. I'm not about the happy ending ones, you know, get that out of your frigging heads. Somebody said to me that if you go over to Thailand, you'll get all that treatment, you'll feel like a new man. It was either that or go to Bulgaria and spend 20-something thousand on an operation on my spine, which I didn't want to have done because the risks. I had a 3-day anxiety attack, and it really screwed my head up. And I can still deeply remember it now. It was one of the most traumatic and scary incidents I've ever had. And I knew that this is the kick up the arse. I've got to leave. I've got to go. And it was an uncontrollable urge. That was the balls that I needed to get out of the UK. And it took me a long time to do it. And people didn't agree with what I did. You know, the family, nobody really agreed with what I did, I suppose. But I did it because I selfishly, and I've never been selfish in my life, I've always been a person who gives everything. I've never expected anything back. Selfishly, I thought, well, this is the time that I go. How long do you wait? You know, that was the question, is how long do I wait? Do I wait for my mum and dad to go off this earth? Do I wait for my daughter to get married or have kids? And I had all this going through my mind, and I thought, well, hang on, it's my life here, and I could be dead before my daughter has kids, or I could be dead before my daughter gets married, or I could be dead before my mum and dad. So I decided then, f it, basically, I'm going. Because this country is causing my depression, and every night I go to bed hoping that I don't wake up in the morning. I thought long and hard about my feelings yesterday, and I've got situational depression. So I had to work out in my own mind, and it took me about 4 or 5 hours thinking about things, and I had to work out in my own mind of what the bloody hell's causing this situational depression. It's not living here, and it's not bud. What's causing me situational depression is, and it was an impulse sort of a thing that I posted that video saying that I feel like a failure. And now I look back at that video and I can analyse what I said, because I always video. I've done loads of videos in the past couple of days. So as I can look back and think, that's where it was, or that's it. That's what I do. And my situational depression is basically caused by my feeling of a failure. And I don't mean a failure in life. I don't feel a failure in life. I'm not depressed about life. I'm depressed about basically YouTube. On average, I get about £5 a video. That's it. That's all it pays. I started talking about Thai relationships, which I'm not going to talk about anymore, because that was one of the worst videos I've ever done, apparently. He's talking about that, so I'm not doing it anymore. I don't know how much YouTube I'm going to do, and I don't know if I'm going to continue it yet. But if I do continue it, it's got to change. It's something we'll have to change to stop causing this situational depression. And I know that's what's causing it. So maybe I don't make videos about e-bikes or e-scooters or anything else like that, or touring, because that never paid off. And I do something different, but I don't know what. I mean, I could talk about my life. I could do a daily vlog about my thoughts and stuff like that. But how many people are going to watch that? It's got no substance to it, and that's what annoys me. I've seen videos of people in Pattaya and Jomtien. They're doing daily videos on nothing. talking about life experiences, of talking about, not life experiences, life as it is at the minute. And I'm thinking, well, everyone's going through that. What the bloody hell's different? But then I keep thinking, well, you know, people are in the UK, people who've been to Thailand, and they want to sort of reminisce on those thoughts, and there's somebody there talking about it. But I mean, if people have been to Surin, I couldn't do a daily vlog here. I mean, I could do, but there's no substance to it. Over here, the weather in the morning, there is zero wind, right? And every morning, it's beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky. And that is only going to get better because we're coming to the end of the rainy season. I used to do loads of RC stuff, radio controlled, you know. I used to enjoy doing that. But, you know, the views that I used to get on YouTube were way above anything that I ever used to do, really. So I had a look this morning to see what videos are actually paying, what videos gain the most subscribers, what videos paid the most. It's all the electronics and radio controlled stuff. What I'm saying is, what I need to do is do something that basically pays for itself. Now, I used to do all the torch videos, and they used to obviously pay for themselves because they were free. I gave all those away on Patreon, you know, all of them, every one of them. I came here with one torch, I think it was, which is an Olight torch. It's very hard doing YouTube. And I've got a lot of consideration, a lot of respect for the people who actually do it, especially the ones who make a living at it. You have to constantly think about substance. You have to think about your not just your next video, but your next bloody 5 videos to keep the YouTube algorithm happy. And it takes a lot of doing. I love it in that room because it's got aircon. The one thing about Thailand is it's always hot. It's not just sometimes hot, it's always hot. And being a Westerner, it's very hard. It's very hard to get used to it. I was thinking about a technology thing, getting new things in from China and stuff like that. I've had quite a few offers really, and I've never had the incentive to do it until very recently. I think that things like radio controlled stuff, if the rules were a lot looser, there'd be a lot more people doing them, obviously, because people are worried about now. People in the UK are petrified about getting into trouble now. So they don't do the things that they used to do, like hobbies. This is what the government want you to do. This is what the government want, is the... I digress on a daily basis. I digress in my mind and I start thinking about the wrong sort of things. I was looking at all the batteries that I've got now, and I keep buying them. On my monthly budget, I spend X amount, I'm not telling you, I spend X amount on getting battery cells for future projects, maybe doing the trike, which I still want to build. I've got loads of things that I want to do, but I've never thought about what I want to do. The technology side, the new things coming out of China is one thing that I really want to do, because I really enjoyed that and it used to get a lot of views. The e-bike stuff is dying off now because the rules and the punishment, I suppose, has increased. The restrictions have increased, and nobody's building those sort of things anymore. Not many people. And the people building them, they want to keep underground because they might get into trouble. And I used to think, F it, I don't care, get me into trouble, and I never did. I had the police come up behind me the one time, and I didn't even see it, to be honest, and he put his siren on, scared the living shit out of me because he was about 3 feet behind me. And I stopped, did a U-turn and off quick. I mean, over here, the temperature it's always, in the morning it goes down to probably 26 degrees now, which is beautiful and comfortable, but it does rise to about 34, 35 as it is now. With the feels like in the high 40s, so it's quite brutal at the minute. And then the humidity's off the bloody scale, and I've had to turn the fan off to make this video, so I'm bloody hot. I'm digressing again. Am I? What was the subject? A depression. Situational depression is a nasty, nasty thing. It can lead you to have all the wrong thoughts, all the bad thoughts, all the everything bad in your life just suddenly springs to mind, to the front of your mind, and that's what you think about, that's what you concentrate on. But you don't go behind all the thoughts, all the bad thoughts in your mind. You don't go, and you never find the problem. You just think, I'm depressed, and that's the end of it, because of all the bad thoughts in your mind. And it takes a long, long time and a lot of brain training to actually see these things, to understand why you feel depressed. Is it clinical depression? And I don't know what percentage of people are going to look at this, watch this video, and they are clinically depressed, but I don't want them to get to the wrong idea. What I want people to do is just sit there and think long and hard about your life, and are you depressed about life, something in your life? And even coming over here, I mean, it was a massive risk. But now I don't live in pain. I don't live in the constant bloody agony that I used to. Still do get them. But then I go and see, I've got another bloke that I go and see, he's cured. Oh my God, it was the most brutal thing ever. I've never known anybody with thumbs like it. I presume it was thumbs, it could have been knuckles or bloody hammer, I don't know. I wasn't looking because I was lying on my stomach. But I've never known anything like it. He brutally, I mean, it was an assault more than anything. Oh my God, did it hurt. I nearly tapped out a couple of times. I came out of there and I was hobbling worse than anything, and I couldn't get on the back on the bike. And my missus said to me, she said, "You all right? Do you want me to carry you? Do you want me to ride the bike?" But it was on, I think we were on the ADV at the time, so she can't ride it because it's too heavy. You know, I made the right decision, and I know I may have hurt a few people when I was making that decision, and I know there's probably going to be a few people who still feel hurt about it. But I made that decision because I honestly don't think that I will be on this earth if I hadn't have done what I did when I did it.